Hey, I'm Marianne with Sublimate My Sew. Today's project is we are going to take these Sublimation brand blanks from Hobby Lobby, and this is the kitchen towel. We are going to turn this into a sling style boho bag, and it is going to be adorable. So you are going to need 4 of these. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. They are $1.99 each. And the measurements are 17.875 by 27.625. It's actually called the kitchen towel. So stay with me if you want to learn how to turn these kitchen towels into the cutest boho style sling bag. I'm Marianne with Sublimate My Sew, and thank you for joining us. We are making these reversible sling boho style bags, and we're going to do a Brazil theme since it is the middle of FIFA right now, and I have a young lady that is cheering on her team. So this is going to be for her. Click here for your Canva template. Once in Canva, you can take a good close look at the template. I already have a folder made for the patterns that I'm going to use in this particular purse. And you'll notice that page 1 is a purse front. You've got the purse back, lining front, lining back. We've got the strap outer and strap lining. And you have 2 optional pockets. So 2 squares make 1 pocket. And in Canva, all you do is drag the design over the frame and it will take it in. So let's go ahead and design the purse front. I'm going to do the green, and I want the yellow flower of Brazil. And I kind of want it off center and a little large and off center. That looks good. And the back, I'm also going to do a solid green, but I do want to add in a text box. So you find your text option. And there it is, text. I like to use the bold prints. So you can either increase the size, you find the text font that you want, and you can kind of scroll down. I like it. I'm looking for something kind of large and blocky. Let's see, let me try this. I can't really see it that well, so let me get it a little larger. You could use your little arrows or just type in a number. I think typing in the number will go a little faster. And okay, so it's not exactly what I'm looking for. It's a little bubbly there. So let me keep scrolling. At least I can see it better. It's not bad. Okay, there you go. I think I like this font. So let me scroll down a little bit so I can type in the text. This is where I'm going to do Brazil. As you can guess what her favorite team is by now. And let's see, I want it a little up to the top. A little bigger would be good. That looks good. And then, of course, the team color, royal blue. All right, so that's my front of my bag. That's the back of my bag. Now I'm going to do the lining, and in this case, it is reversible, so it can be flipped. And I do want to do the traditional Brazil yellow with the green stripe. I think that'll look really cute as a lining. And if you decide you want to flip it, you can do that as well. For the straps, you're going to need the outer strap and the inner straps, and these are going to join together in the middle. So I'm going to do a set of 4 of these in green for the outer color and 4 of them in yellow for the lining color. And the reason it's done like this is because we are limited in our size, because we have a 13 by 19 limited printer and a 16 by 24 heat press. Oh, and this is the pocket. I'm going to do 1 pocket, so I'm going to need 2 squares. I think I want to change the orientation of that and I'm not quite sure yet if I'm going to put it on the front or the back, but whatever. I've got the options, and I don't actually need a second pocket, so I'm just going to go ahead and delete that page. Let's see. So I've got my pocket, my straps, inner and outer, and my linings. and 2 linings and 2 outer shells. Okay, I love it. Now we're going to share, download, and PNG, and you can actually do a transparent background as well. There it is. And hit download. This is probably going to be a large file, so it's probably going to give you a zip. So go ahead and save it someplace that you can find it again. I'll give you a zip file that you'll just have to unzip. Okay, name it something you'll remember. Let's see. And then hit, as soon as you've got the name down, hit save. Okay, yep, it's a zip file, so you can hit the folder button, shows the location, right click, and I extract here. And then I should have my 7 pages, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, perfect. And then I'm gonna open up these individually and print it to my sublimation printer. To print these files, I like to open with Irfan View. Irfan View allows me access to all my printer settings. I don't have to guess. So File, Print, and here we go. So here are all my printer settings, and I'm going to select my my converted Epson 16600, and I want to check the original size from image. I want to check the portrait, and that looks good. Printer setup. And I want to choose my dye sublimation printer, which is the converted Epson ET16600. Check my orientation and size of my paper. Then, okay, paper tray, document size, premium presentation matte, high quality and color. Everything else looks good here. Go ahead and go to more options. Super B, yep. And here is where you want to color correction, hit custom. And here's where you could like save some presets, but I don't have it saved here. Make sure you're on mirror image. And this is where you want to take notes. I'm doing color controls, Adobe RGB, Gamma 2.2, color circle, 9, 7, 15, 4. So take note of those numbers. And then that looks good. Hit OK. And everything looks good. So we're going to hit OK again. And we are ready to hit print. I am using a DIY converted Epson 16600 with Hippo ink, Hippo sublimation ink right from Amazon. And you're going to need 4 Sublimation Blanks brand kitchen towels. We do not need these edges, so let's go ahead and just cut them off so that way they do not interfere and get in the way of our prints. Here is a snapshot of the 4 Hobby Lobby Sublimation Blank Kitchen Towels and where our printout will be pressed onto this fabric. So it gives you an idea of how we need to make it stretch. And here is a screenshot of the 8 different prints that we're going to have. These are 13 by 19 prints. We eliminated page 8 because I think we were only going to do 1 pocket. But so you should have between 7 and 8 pages. And here is where we're going to trim the paper so that it can fit into our fabric pieces, and just so that we can make it fit and not be wasteful. So it looks like the body fits kind of pretty good right here, and I'm going to cut it off so that way I can use the end pieces for the straps. And let's see if that strap fits well. And yes, it does. And then I'll keep some extra at the end too, in case I mess up or something, then I always have it. Our particular heat press is set to 400 degrees and 70 seconds, but go by the manufacturer. I just happen to know my heat press pretty well. I've been using it for almost a decade. And we do a hot peel, and that looks beautiful. So once you've got all your pieces pressed onto the fabric, You can just sort, make sure you have everything, and then you're going to start cutting it out. And I like to cut right up to the color edges. There's no need, there's the seams are already built in, so you can cut right up to it. As little white as possible can be left. And here is the bag body, and I like to use my straight edge, but just remember, practice good rolling scissor safety. Always click it back whenever you move it around, or else you're going to accidentally cut yourself. So if you get in the habit and practice it, you will always remember to retract it. And especially when you're moving things around, because it is easy to forget, and that's when you accidentally cut yourself. And for the corners, I do like to use my scissors just to kind of get that nice clean cut, but and try to be as efficient as possible, especially when you're trying to cut a bunch of these. And even for the curve, I think this you can use scissors or you can do your roller. Just be careful of your fingers. I do have good control. I've been doing this for a long time, but still, I don't like doing this that way in case it slips. So just be very careful and go very slowly, or just use your scissors. That looks good. So just cut out the rest of your pieces. We're going to start off with making the pocket. We're going to do right sides together, and I'm going to use my serger, and I'm going to go all the way around, and then at the end I'm going to cut off in the middle section, cut through the stitches and pull it through. I do it this way because I'm using a serger, and a serger tends to be cleaner. Instead of running the serger off to the side, it kind of makes the seam go wonky. So if you go straight through and then remove the stitching of the area you want to open, I have a much cleaner and easier seam to close when I go back to my sewing machine. So I'm just taking my scissors and I'm opening up the seam. I think maybe 3 inches. I'll make it a little easier to pull through, and you just kind of trim away until you get the opening that you need. Once you get that, you are going to put it, roll it back inside out or right side out. And then I like to have my handy dandy chopstick to make nice corners. Like I said, I like using the serger for projects like this because it's much quicker and cleaner, and it also finishes the fabric edge for me as well. That looks good. And like I said, when I just need to do a little trimming and line up the seam again so that I can sew it closed, I'm going to do a double stitch across the top with my sewing machine this time, and that gives the pocket a nice top. On my sewing machine, I'm just using a universal needle and the regular line stitch thread. Nothing special, just the double threading. Number one closes the hole that we punched through, and it gives it a nice finish, and it makes it nice and sturdy for a pocket. Next, we are going to find a spot for our pocket, and we're going to sew the 3 sides, and of course leave the opening towards the top. Now here is a snapshot. I wanted to give you an overview of what we're doing here. Because we're limited by 13 by 19 print size papers, we have to kind of divide the pattern up. And so here we are going to now attach and sew the straps. Whereas if you were using a bolt of fabric, you usually wouldn't have to separate these pieces. But because we're limited by 13 by 19, we do. So all you're doing is right sides together and attaching the straps and just line it up. And you're going to do that for the lining and the outer shell. Now we are going to serge the lining and body of the bag. So go ahead and put your right sides together and line it up as perfectly as you can. And you are going to probably use some pins or whatnot, but you're going to go all the way down the strap and across the bottom. It's about a 1/2 inch seam on each piece. And we're also going to do the same for the outer shell as well. Line it up. And like I said, I like to use my serger. This is a very long piece, and so serger just whips right through it. And it's also going to finish those rough fabric edges. And you can run it really fast all the way down the line. I just like to keep everything neat and tidy so nothing gets hosed up. When I come to a seam, I like to press them in opposite directions. So the top one I press towards the machine, the bottom one I'm pulling towards me, so it makes a thinner fabric to go through, and so it doesn't hose up as much. And we're going to repeat this for the lining and for the bag itself and on each side. So as you can see how fast the serger can do this job versus a sewing machine. But of course, if you just have a sewing machine, same concept, it'll work beautifully. Just run it through your sewing machine as well. And this fabric is very easy to sew and use, and it feels great, and it's perfect for this style of bag. Okay, so now we are finishing up our bags. We are going to go ahead and trim off kind of all the excess thread ends just to keep it nice and clean. Go ahead and we are going to sew the box edges. So square it up like this, pin it, and then we are going to sew across. And you want to just line up the lining seam with the lining on the side. Just make sure it's even and give yourself a nice 1/2 inch seam. You're going to do that for the lining and for the outer shell. Here is where we're going to have to open up the um, lining, but keep it nice and neat because it is reversible. So we're going to go back in and sew it, but we're going to want to be able to use it either way. So once I said a good 3-inch probably will do to be able to flip that back in 3 to 4 inches. Just chip away until you get what you're looking for. And it's still quite strong, so don't worry, but it does create, doing it this way does create a beautiful edge when you go back and sew it on the other way, so that when it is reversible, you can't even tell.